All right. Welcome everyone to our chocolate chip cookie watercolor. Um, Apparently we had 38 people signed up for this. So a lot of you like chocolate chip cookies. You will receive the recording if you have to leave early, and you'll receive the recording anyway. Um, Tonight you will need the following supplies. I have put them in the chat, and I'm just going to um, recopy it one more time before we start. And that's in the chat. And there you go. And then real quickly, for those that joined a little bit later, um, I have down that one of the supplies is a white gel pen. You can also use white acrylic paint. White colored pencil, unfortunately, does not work because it's on top of the watercolor. And if you don't have any of those, the white gel pen or the white paint, it's okay. You can still do this and it will still look realistic. It just adds a little touch of white highlights to the chocolate chips and around the chocolate chips. So we are going to get started. We're going to need our pencil first. And let me just make sure that everybody is on speaker view and not gallery view. If you are on speaker view, you should only see my drawing. Gallery view will show you everyone else. So in order for you to see it large, you want to make sure that you are on active speaker or speaker view. I think that's what it says there. And I'm just going to move my stuff over and we're going to get started. So you're probably also wondering, how should you hold your paper? I have mine straight up and down, but if you feel like it's going to be a little bit harder for you to draw the cookie, you can turn it landscape wise. So it doesn't really matter. It just depends on your comfort level if you think you're going to need a little bit wider of a space. The cookie does fill up. As you can see, it's a pretty big cookie. So, however you feel comfortable, you can turn your paper, but mine is portrait mode, which is up and down. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to move this over. And we are going to get started with the drawing. And you want to make sure to go nice and light, as I always say when we draw this. I will be going darker because we're on Zoom. So just a reminder to go lighter. All right, so we're going to start off with our cookie shape first. And basically, we're going to start. Remember, it's going to take up the whole entire, most of our paper. So we're going to start over here on the right side. We're going to make a C shape, right? A C shape that is kind of bitten in on the right side. All right, so first we're just going to make our shape. And I'm going to go in really close so that you're able to see that shape. So over here on the right, we're going to make a big circle. And then we're going to worry about later on, we'll come back and we'll create the crumbling effect around the cookie. But first, we just want to get the shape of the cookie. So our cookie is a little bit wide up here, and then it starts to make another shape a little bit down here as we go towards the bottom. And I have to make my cookie a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do that right now. There we go. And we're going to go down about right here. And then we're going to make sure to make our cookie kind of bit. Kind of looks like a Pac-Man. Oh, nice, John Paul. You got it. Yes. Beautiful. So our cookie is thicker down here than it is up here. And then once you have your basic shape, we're going to go around afterward and make it more crumbly, like I mentioned. But first, we're going to start to add the chocolate chips inside and also all of the indents from the cookie. So we're going to start first over here at the top right. And first, what we're going to do is we're going to make sort of a shape that's kind of showing where the cookie is becoming three-dimensional. So this is sort of the bitten part of the cookie. And for now, we're just going to make it in pencil. It's going to go around and then go back down here. And we've got a little part over here that's kind of sticking out. So I'm going to just erase that a little bit. So now your cookie should look a little more three-dimensional, and I'll wait for you to catch up. So good to see everybody tonight. We've got Linda, Gail, John Paul, Scotes, Nancy, Patty, Kathy, Lorraine, Marilyn. Hello, Ashlyn, Amanda, and Adeline. And Jean. Did I miss anybody? Let's see. I know we had some people pop off, and that's quite all right. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're now going to start drawing in our chocolate chips. I'm just going to erase a little bit and redraw this bottom part or this top part. So we're going to start off with the chocolate chip over here all the way at the top on the right. We're going to go in a little bit and we're going to draw that chocolate chip. I'm going to go a little bit darker so you can see. So our chocolate chips look like circles, but they're not exactly perfect circles, right? Because they're baked inside our yummy cookie. I know I'm going to want a chocolate chip cookies after this, and I don't have anything to bake with tonight, so I don't know. I may have to run to Giant after this. We'll see. I've been known to do late night chocolate runs, so beautiful, John Paul. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we're going to continue. First, we're going to go down this way to the next chocolate chip. And this one is right along the edge of where we bit into the chocolate chip. That's right. We did it. We bit into it. I've decided. Or I've bitten into all of yours because chocolate chips are my favorite cookie ever. And I could easily eat like 5 in one sitting. I'm a little girl, but I can pack in chocolate chips. Absolutely. So here goes the next chocolate chip. And if you notice, all we're doing right now is making the circular parts, okay? We're going to continue on. We're going to go down here toward the bottom, almost the bottom. And right along here, we're going to make another chocolate chip. This one is bigger. The reason it looks bigger is because it is closer to us. So I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger. like so. This is a big chocolate chip. All right, we're going to continue on over here to the left side. This chocolate chip is really close to the edge here, and you can only see half of it. And then what you see is part of the cookie, and you're going to draw it like that. Very similar to that. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but very similar. Actually, as a matter of fact, I apologize. This goes in this way a little bit, and then it goes up. So this part is a little bit slanted. Sorry about that. We're also going to continue up here. And we draw the next chocolate chip. And these are going to start to be looking like they're inside the cookie because they are. Because then we're going to go around and we're going to draw a little more of the lines and the indents of where the chocolate chip is sitting in. Now, we're going to go right here. And we're now going to start to draw the line for this chocolate chip cookie because the cookie, as it got baked, kind of split, and you can see a little bit of that cookie or that chocolate chip coming out of it. So I'm going to point to where we are right here. So here is that split in the cookie, right? And we're going to add more of those, but this one you can really see it. And it's going right up to the other chocolate chip over here. Okay. Nice, John Paul. Looks yummy. Looking yummy. Oh yeah, I foresee chocolate chips in my future tonight. And kind of a belly ache later on, but hey, it will all be worth it. I'm staying up late tonight to work on more summer programs, so I need some fuel. All right. So now we're going to go back over to this chocolate chip and we're going to make a tiny one that is kind of peeking out. So a little bit away from it, maybe about right here. And this one is going to kind of look like this. A little bit peeking out. So I'm going to point to it. You can see where it is in proximity to the others. We've got some little itty bitty chocolate chips that we also have to draw, but we will get to those. And then we can actually start painting. Well, after we also go around the edge and make it a little crumbly looking. Okay, so now we're going to start making some of these other lines that I've been talking about. So we're going to come from over here and we're going to jump on over to this chocolate chip right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a line that goes all the way to the edge of the cookie. And you can see it's kind of a scraggly line. And it's also going to continue over here and go around this chocolate chip. So follow this crazy line the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Here is the line. I'm pointing to it. It started up here and it goes all the way over here. And then we have another line right off of this one. So now we're going to start right here, right where the chocolate chip is, and you're going to curve. And you're going to kind of indent on top of your chocolate chip. Then you're going to continue that line to meet up with the other line. So I'll say that again. So here you start off where the cookie is sort of bit. You kind of go over on top. Are you guys eating chocolate chip cookies? Ashlyn, Amanda, and Adeline, that is hilarious. I'm all kinds of jealous right now, girls. I love it. I love it. That's great. So continuing on, you're going to make sure that that meets up with this line. And then we've got some little chocolate chips to make. So we're going to draw one right here. Again, this is like a little piece of one. Okay, I just pointed to that. We have a really little itty bitty one right here. And we're going to come over here and we've got another one like so. I'm going to point to all of these. So we've got this, this, and this. We've got one more of those too, but that's going to be over here. Just giving everybody a chance to catch up. Okay. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to add some light lines. So all these lines should be light, but mine are dark so you can see. And again, these are kind of crumbly lines that later on we are going to be adding with our watercolor and our colored pencil. So we have one happening right here. And we're going to come back over to this one. And we're going to make another line to go right up into this little one right here. So I just went from here to here. And we've got some little ones happening here. So remember, your lines are very light. Mine are dark so you can see them, but yours should be barely showing because you're going to go over those with colored pencil and also with the watercolor. That's going to bring us down to this next chocolate chip, and we're going to actually come over to the bottom. And we're going to make another chocolate chip line to about here. Actually, we want to go a little bit like this. This one is kind of going along the edge of our cookie. So I'm pointing to this one right here. It's kind of looking like a map, isn't it? A yummy chocolate chip cookie map. Oh my gosh. You guys are so funny. I'm just looking, Ashlyn, Amanda, and Adeline kind of put their screen on and off to show me they're eating chocolate chip cookies. I love it. That's great. So right over here, we're now going to add one more. Beautiful, John Paul. That is looking like a cookie already. We're going to add another line here, squiggly line. And we're going to make some of these other lines using our colored pencils, but some of these I wanted you to kind of draw in. Now, the last one that we're going to make is coming off of this big chocolate chip, and it's going to come from it and then go right to the other one. So I'm going to point to that one right there. And if you look, your chocolate chip should be looking pretty realistic, even just with this drawing. But we're going to make it even more realistic. So now we've got to make the outside of our cookie look a little more crumbly. So you now want to lightly erase around your cookie. You still want to be able to see your line so that you can redraw each section and make it more crumbly. It is so many lines, Linda. So many lines. It's so true. There are lots of lines in this. Okay. So we're going to start up here and we're going to make this part start to look crumbly by going like this. So you're going to go in and out just like a cookie, kind of a wobbly line, right? You're going to follow it right here where it starts up again, but kind of goes outward. Now, again, don't worry if the outline of your cookie looks different than mine. It's okay. We just want to get the feeling that the cookie is not perfect. Like the outside of it is not perfect because that's exactly what it's like for the cookie part, right? And then you're going to go around and meet up here at the bottom. And it should look even more realistic, like a cookie. Like you could pass this off as a cookie right now if you wanted to. But we still have more to do. So once you are finished with that, if you made your lines dark, you now want to slightly go over all of your lines. Beautiful, John Paul. That looks so real. So real. And you want to lighten up your lines. So you don't want to erase them. But what you're doing is you're just taking your eraser, going on top of your lines and lightening them so that you're still able to see them. And then, yep, all the lines. You just want to make sure that they are light. As you can see, my drawing looks like it's disappearing, but it's not. It's still there. It's just very light. Oh, I think I erased one of my lines. Whoops. Don't want to do that. Okay. And then when you're satisfied, we're now going to start our painting finally. We're going to need our bigger brush. So I recommended, at first, I only recommended one brush, but I think it would help if you had a smaller brush as well, like a detail brush. So I've got this brush. This is a number 8. It came with my set. Yeah, John Paul, that'll work. Absolutely. And it should have a tip to it. It should be, this is a round brush, whereas a flat brush, the bottom is literally flat. The round brush comes to a point. sort of a point, right? I'm just going to show you the difference between a round and a flat brush, just so you know. This one on the left is one that we would like to use. If you don't have this kind of brush, you know, obviously you can use a flat brush. It'll just be a little bit harder to do the smaller parts. But this one is a flat brush. You can see because the bottom the bristles are flat. This is a round brush. It usually comes to a point. And then if you have a smaller round brush as well for detail, that would be great. If you don't, that's okay. We will make do. So I'm going to let everybody get that together. But we're going to be starting off first with our big round brush for the most part. And so I'm just using Crayola watercolors. These are very basic. And here is the cover to it. And I use that as a mixing tray. So if you have something like this, you're going to use this as a mixing tray. If you don't, you want to get something where you're able to mix your colors. I recommend like a porcelain plate. Yeah, John Paul, that's awesome. Your set is awesome. And yeah, you may have a better set. And you can use whatever tray it comes with. So the first thing we're going to mix is we're going to mix purple and black together. We're going to start off doing the first shadow around our chocolate chips. So you're going to dip your brush in water, and you're going to add that water to the side where you're going to mix, and then you're going to go into your purple and your black, and you're going to get kind of a plum color. Now, maybe you already have that color, depending on what watercolors that you're using, but we want to look for a plum color, but we also want it to be very watery. So you're going to add water. I'm here adding water over here, and then you're going to start to add it around your cookie. So again, I watered this down. I'm going to start over here at the edge of my cookie, and I'm going to follow the edge just like almost like I'm drawing it. And then also here at the bottom, and we're going to start to expand this. And the way we're going to expand it is we're going to add more water. Okay, on the paper so that it's a little bit lighter as it goes around. So your first step is to take that color and go around against your cookie. So that's your first step. And then while it's still wet, you're going to dip into your water. And now you're going to go onto that color, and you're going to paint with the water next to it. And you're going to start expanding it as if you're sketching with it. Like you're creating a shadow and you're lightening it up. Your water is like your eraser. So now I'm making it lighter by adding water. Do you see how it's lighter here, but it's darker against the cookie? And you're going to take that and expand that over here, and you're going to do the same thing here at the bottom. So again, I just took water and I I put it up against the line of purple that I did, but I'm not erasing that line of purple. I'm just taking a little bit from the edge of it. And then I'm using the water to make the shadow larger and lighter. So if you look at this, I'm going to show this a little bit up close. You can kind of see, and that's just our first layer. Watercolor is done in lots of light layers, and then the final layers are darker. So we build it up very slowly. So we're going to take that same color and we're actually now going to go into the chocolate chip. And you're probably thinking, what? Purple? Yes, purple for some of our shadows. So we're going to let that layer dry. We're now going to go in with some more water and we're going to very lightly add some of this purple. And we're going to add it around each of our chocolate chips. So here's one. We're going to add it right around. This is the shadow, or at least the start of one. So right here. And guess what? We're also going to follow on top of our lines that we drew. So this is purple. We are using the watered down purple that we used, and we are creating shadows with it. The first layer of shadows. So first we go around. Beautiful, John Paul. Yes. Looks great. Beautiful. Now you want to add a lot of water to your brush, right? So right here, I'm going in the watery part of the purple. Now we're going to go around the next chocolate chip over here on the left. And guess what? We're going to start to expand the shadow like this and right up against the other one. So if you look, and I'm going to start to go really close now so that you're able to see. We're going to be adding a wash of like yellow too. But we are now going to go around the other chocolate chips. So we've got that. And now we're going to go over here. So we're going to kind of trace this one. And then guess what? We're going to go along the edge of the cookie right here towards the front of us, because this is a shadow part. So you should be looking at it and all of a sudden your cookie should continue to start to look three-dimensional with this. It will continue to do that, especially when we go around the bitten part. So we're still using our purple, right? I like to add more water. Let's go around the bitten part for right now. So this part, we're going to go up against the line that we created. And then you're going to go and dip your brush in the water because you want this bottom part after the line to be even lighter. So again, think of it like you're shading. And in order to make it lighter, you have to add water. And you have to add water to the part that you've already done and bring that water down into the next section so that the darker part stays right along the edge or wherever you want to put it. We are going to add more colors, but we're now going to continue with our purple. And we're going to go around this chocolate chip and just a little bit along the edge right here and follow it right there. We're going to go back and, like I mentioned, go to the lines. But for now, we're working around each of the chocolate chips. And now we're gonna follow this line to the right. And that's going to lead us into the next chocolate chip. So again, we're not going on the chips. You're going around the chips so far. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. We're now going to go up to this line, and you're going to go right on top of the line and shade. This line, you're going to go a little bit to the right and on top and continue that line, that shading all the way down to the big chocolate chip right there. All right. I have to mix a little more of my purple here. So remember, that is purple and black in order to get that plum color in case you run out like I did, and then make sure to add water to it in your tray so that it's nice and light. Okay, so now we're going to go over to this chocolate chip and we're going to add shadow around it. Okay, and then we're going to start to add some shadows now on the lines. We already started to, but we're going to continue. So we're going to add this one here. See, here's that little chocolate chip. We're going to add, we're going to trace over the line. We're going to trace over all the lines, the rest of the lines with this purple. So here we go, right over the lines over here. We're going to come over. Here's this little one right here. We're going to add some around the little chip and then trace on the lines. Now my brush is still right over here, and we're going to start to add some on the actual cookie going up against the part that was bit right here. And then you're also going to now start to go around this edge like this because there is a shadow there. And it's going to go all the way back over to this section. I'm pointing where we just did that part. So that's here and here. It should really start to be looking like a little more three-dimensional the more that you're adding this. We're going to continue around the edge of the cookie now with this purple. So dip into your purple again, and this time we're going to go across to the other side of the cookie, right over here, and we're going to go along the edge the whole time until we meet up with this one right here. Okay. And now we're going to keep that purple on our brush. We're now going to, oh, beautiful, John Paul. Wow, that is awesome. Awesome. We're now going to add purple and some orange together. Purple and orange. And it should look very light after you add water to it. So let me do that a little darker so you can see. Purple and orange. It's going to kind of look like a brownish. This is going to be some more of the cookie. Now we're going to go right on top of our purple with that. So all the places that you just went purple, you're now going to go on top of the purple with this color. So you don't have to, you don't want to cover the purple so that it doesn't exist. You just want to go on top of it. Now this is only in your cookie. So on the cookie, not on the part where it's underneath the cookie. So we're going over all the lines. I have to mix a little more. So we're tracing around on top of all of the lines on the shadows. And this doesn't have to be perfect. You can go quickly, like I'm doing. You're just adding basically another color on top. Sure, that's okay. It is purple and orange, and you're gonna get a color that looks a bit like this. It's kind of like a brown. And then you want to water it down so that it's light. You're welcome. You're welcome, cookie ladies. And then when you are ready, you now want to lighten up that color on your tray to almost nothing. And this is going to be in little sections. We're going to now add little sections to our cookie, but also we want to leave the white of the paper up here where our cookie is. So now I took water and I'm doing mostly water and a little bit of that color. And I'm going in patches of the cookie, especially where we added the dark parts. And I'm reactivating the parts of that cookie to blend, and then taking it and smoothing it out to other parts of the cookie. So I'm just going to show this up close to show you what I mean. You see how it looks blended, and then it's a very light, almost yellowy brown. We want to get that base, and the way we're doing that is I just dipped my brush in the water, and now I'm just going over the edge of where we did the darks, and I'm pulling that color and rotating my brush around to blend it. It's almost like when you take your finger and you smooth out in pastel and you blend it. You're doing the same thing except with water. You're now blending on top of the cookie. So we don't want to go into this part of the cookie in the bit part. We just want to go in this part of the cookie. And our next step is we're going to add some orange. And also orange and yellow so that we get a golden, kind of a golden yellow or a little bit of an orange. And now you're then going to start to add. Oh, yeah, I can slow down. Sorry, Linda. Absolutely. Sure. So our next step is going to be the yellow and the orange mixed together. And you want to mix that on your spot here. And it should look kind of like a golden, kind of like a golden orange. Oh yeah, nice job, Paul. Beautiful. Yeah, that's the color. Perfect. And what you're going to do with that is you're going to start dotting that color around your cookie. So you're kind of making dots, texture around your cookie. You're going to also do it in this section where the cookie has been bit. So you're taking your brush, and if you want to do this with your smaller brush, if your bigger brush is too big, and you want to now use your smaller brush, you can do that. So you're probably thinking, well, where do I put all the dots? You can put them randomly anywhere, but you don't want to put them entirely all over the cookie so that it's all spotted. You want to kind of, I like to put mine kind of right in the spots where we did some of the darker parts and the spots that are kind of in the shadow areas. And then a little bit, just a little bit in on some of the other parts. But you also definitely want to put it along the edge of the bottom part of the cookie in the shadow part. So I'm doing that now. And we're giving it some texture here. And our next part is we're going to, when you're finished with that, you're going to mix some brown in with your yellow. With that color that you just did, you're going to mix brown in. So the colors that made the gold are yellow and orange. Now your next color is what you had on your palette. It was that yellow and orange. You're going to add brown to, and then some black. And a little bit of purple. So there's a lot going on with this. We're making a bit of a brown that's a little darker. If you can, look up and see, it's kind of like a brownish. And you're also going to start using that along the edge of the cookie, painting over what we have in the darker areas. So going around the cookie on the bottom here and starting to come into the rest of the cookie. So here is that color. Now you're not going to paint the entire cookie still. You're going now into, again, one more time, a little bit on top of the darker areas with this color. Oh, wow, John Paul, that looks so real. Amazing. So we're now painting on top of the purple. Remember the purple we did? Not this purple, not around the outside, but on top of the purpley part and also a little bit on top of the cookie, surrounding the area where you created the darker parts. So again, and if you need to mix more of that color, it is yellow, orange, brown, black, and a little bit of purple. And you can start to go around each section where you added the purpley, the part where you added the shadowing, and along each of the crumbly lines, and you're kind of repainting over those. And you finally want to go up against the part where we chomped on it, and you want to outline that line with this color, like this. And you're also going to make some dots with this color in that section. This is with the sort of brownish that we just did. Oh, that color, that was that brownish we did. So that was a combination of yellow and orange mixed together, brown, black, and purple. Now, if you have a brown that's a darker brown, yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you have a brown that is a darker brown, we're doing that if you have the Crayola set like I do. You have to kind of mix those colors because the brown in the Crayola looks more orangey. So we are mixing that color. And then when you're ready, you're going to hold on to that color, but you're going to add some yellow. So you're not going to add it to that color, but you're not going to wash off your brush. You're going to still have that color on your brush. You're going to get into your yellow and swab it a little bit in your plastic section. And then you're going to start adding that yellow around your cookie. So what you're going to do is you're now adding a little bit of yellow on top of everything. You're smoothing things out, not a whole lot, just a little bit. You're just adding some yellow. So do you see I take my brush and I go around kind of in swirls, but I'm still leaving the white of the paper a little bit. And then we're going to go in with purple and brown one more time. So let me clear off a spot here. And you're going to mix purple and brown together. And you're going to now add that to the edge of your cookie up top in this back section here. Add a little more brown. Now, if it's looking a little too orangey, you can add a little bit of black. You're trying to get a little bit more of a brownish color. That's a little darker than what we've previously done. And you're going to go around in sections, kind of like what I've been doing, right? Like circling around and pulling some of the darker parts of the cookie into the rest. And then we're going to let that dry and finish up with the around it. Let's see. Black. And we're going to start to add some darker areas. Now, when you are ready, when you've finished that part, we're going to go around the outs. Oh my gosh, beautiful, John Paul. That looks amazing. We're going to go around again right outside of our cookie, well, up against it. And we're going to mix our final color that's a little darker, that's going to go along the edge of our cookie again. So this is going to be purple, blue, and black. So you're going to get a color that looks like sort of a bluish purple, kind of a royal blue, maybe a little darker than royal blue, maybe like a navy. It's kind of like a navy blue. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go along the edge up at the top in a bit of a darker line along your cookie, the edge of it. This is on the outside of it, right? And you're going to do the same thing, tracing around the bottom part of the cookie along the edge. And then you're going to wet your brush, and you're going to take that color a little bit into the right side of the shadow. And then you're also going to come down below and add it on top of the purple that you did before, but with water. So you're basically making it lighter part of the shadow. And if you need to blend it, you just add a little water on the tip of your brush, and then it will reactivate the color. So that you can blend it. And then you're going to switch to your small brush because we're going to get into the chocolate chips. So for the chocolate chips, we're going to go light at first, and then we're going to get darker. So you want to put your small brush in the water to wet it a little bit. And the colors that we're going to mix for the chocolate chips are brown and black. So more black, but get into your brown and then into your black. And it should be darker. So it should be something like this. Now, if you already have a dark brown somewhere, you can use that. And we're going to start off at the top with our small one right here. And we're going to color in just the part of the chocolate chip. I'm going to go really close now so that you can see the detail that I'm doing. So we're going to be going along each of the edges and leaving the white of the paper for now. So with this one, the darkest part of that chip is right along here. And then once you do that, you're also going to very lightly trace on top of the line that leads to the next chip with that color. And then you're going to outline the next chip. And do you see what I'm doing? I'm dotting kind of moving my brush along and dotting it as I go around the chip. And then when I go on the inside, here's where I'm going to do it, because this is the darkest part of the chip. Right there. Now we're going to mix that color again. Remember, that color is brown and black. Oops. I actually went into my red. I don't know what I was doing there. Brown and black, in case you need to mix more. We're going to go into the small chip here, and you're going to cover the whole chip in that color. Here's that small chip that I'm pointing to. Each of those small chips, you're going to paint the whole thing like so. And when we get to the big chip, you're going to kind of paint what looks like a this shape where it kind of looks like an upside down V. So we're doing the darker parts first. And we'll go over them one more time for the really dark parts. We have a chip right here that you're going to go dark with, except leave the top of it the white of the paper. I'm pointing to that one. Here's another chip up here. And the dark part is going to be on the bottom of the chip, like this. And then you're going to leave the white of the paper. So I'm pointing to this one. See how I left the white of the paper at the top? We've got two more chips here. We have this one where we're going to go around and basically make a shape like this. Leave the white of the paper in this section. And then our final chip is going to look like that. And we're going to start to use the color that we have still on our small brush. We're going to go back and we're going to make some of those lines using this color. So we're going to come back over here to this line from this chip. And we're going to trace very lightly along that line. But we're not going to finish that line. Oops, I just realized I'm off the, there we are. So I just went here and you're going to start to kind of trace very lightly. So you see I'm lifting up my brush and kind of dotting along the line the color. So you're going to be doing that on some of these. Here's another one right here. And we're going to come down at the bottom and we're going to make some dots along this line. This is with the brown and black mixed together, right? And so we're making, oops, I ran out of my color, so I'm going to come back. Now you're using very little water at this point, if at all. Because now we want the cookie lines to be more pronounced. I'm just going to show this up close to show you. See that? that's what you're doing. You're doing that with the tip of your brush so that it looks like a cake cookie sort of texture. And then you're going to dip very lightly into some purple. And you're going to add just a little light purple with a little bit of water to a little bit of the white of each inside the chocolate chips, just a little bit on one side. So I just added a little bit of purple to this one, and this one. And then our last part in the chips is you're going to get into your black. You're going to take the point of your brush. You have barely any water on it. And you're going to take that point and you're going to really get in there into the paint. And we're now going to be using black to outline our chocolate chips. Here we're starting with this one, and we're going to start to add the darkest parts on our chocolate chips. And then you're also going to add a few lines, crinkly lines coming from those chips. So I started off with this one up here. We're going to work our way and add a little bit of black to this part of the line. We're going to skip some space, and then we're going to go right up to the chocolate chip. And we're going to kind of outline it and cover it in black, but not that little spot. Now this is black, so we're adding the darkest part to the chip now. We're going to come over to this one. You're going to add what looks like another V, and then color in. Oh, John Paul, that looks amazing. Oh my gosh, it looks so real. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Nice job. So here is the chocolate chip over here. And then you're going to outline with the black. and go into the little one right next to it and kind of dot along the line for the chip. So here we are right here. You're going to keep going over here. Now we've got this little one right here. You're going to add a little bit of black right in the corner of it. So I'm going to, do you see how I added a little bit of black in the corner of where it's stuck inside the cookie part? That would be your darkest part. And then you're going to continue to the next chocolate chip up here. Dip into your black, and it's going to be the darkest along the bottom of the chip. And then you're going to keep shading, but you're going to keep that purple part that we did at the top of the chip. You can add a little bit of black over here, right along where the chip is, on the right of it, right here, for a little bit of shading. So I'm taking my brush, and my brush is dry, and I'm shading with the brush to make it look kind of like the shading, the shadow on it. And then we're going to go into this chip. You're going to do the same. It's dark. On the bottom. And you can add a little bit of dark line coming from the chip. See that? How I kind of dotted it? It's sort of like coming from the chip. And for our last two chips here, here's the big one. You're going to outline it in black, the whole thing. You're going to dip into your black, and you're going to get really dark in these sections. You can add a little bit of some dotted black line here, just a little bit. It gets really tiny as it goes toward the next chip, where we dip into our black again. And outline all around it. And then when you're done, you're going to put your brush down, and you're going to pick up your black colored pencil when you are finished with painting that part. You're going to finally pick up your black colored pencil, and you're going to trace along the outside of your cookie. So you're going to trace your cookie with your black colored pencil. Remembering to get into some of the grooves so that your cookie looks real. And when you're done tracing around it, you're going to shade a little bit with your black colored pencil along the part that is bit and also along the bottom. Right next to the cookie, so that underneath it, so that it looks like even more of a darker shadow. And then you're finally going to take your brown colored pencil and you're going to add some really light lines. If your watercolor is dry, you're going to add some other few lines. Not too many, just a few kind of crinkly lines. And you can even add some spots by coloring in a circle, like shading little circles. For the texture. You can even do a little bit of shading by scribbling a little bit with your colored pencil on the parts that are darker near each of the chocolate chips. But you don't have to. I'm going to stop my recording